Good morning, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other. And I'm so excited to have Tracy this morning to be presenting for us a topic that normally we don't talk about. It's about quitting. And with that, Tracy, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose this topic.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I am coming to you from Southern Colorado, and my last name is actually Greek. It's Eleftheriadis. I've been in the coaching world since 2020, since June of 2020, which is actually when I moved out of my teaching position. I taught psychology, government economics to high school students for a long, long time. And when I moved out of my profession, I did that because I had developed a lot of anxiety, and actually my anxiety had moved into chronic pain. And so since that time, I've my life has totally changed. I left the city. I used to be in Denver, and I switched up my job also. And then ultimately left my relationship as well. So when you think about pattern behaviors, a lot of times what happens with us and our nervous system is we just go into these sort of rituals where they aren't really benefiting us. And what I figured out was that Western medicine wasn't really able to help me with how I was feeling, because I would go to the doctor. They would say to me, you go to the gym, you go to yoga, your blood work looks fine, you're perfectly okay. Here, take these pills. And after realizing that they didn't have the answers for me, that there is no magic pill, I just really dug into the research around our nervous system. And I had actually happened to try tapping as a way to help my body relax, and it worked for me. So then I went on to get my yoga teacher training, and I worked with breath work as well, and just really help people to repattern what they're doing in their lives, because I believe that we can totally change our mind. So that's who I am. And I am excited to be here with all of you and talk to you about quitting and just see where all of you are in your world. I'm excited to get to know all of you as well. So when we think about shifting our perspective, a lot of times when things get hard, what we instantly go to, what our brain instantly goes to is, well, this is too hard. I'm just going to quit. So I'm curious, how many of you have thought about quitting anything over the last week?
I don't know about over the last week, but I've quit many times. I know after my retirement, I tried different things because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it doesn't work. So you quit. Well, you don't just quit, but you think about it. Is that align with you? Is that what you want to do? Does it how does that make you feel? And if it's not, doesn't feel like it's the right thing to do, I quit. And a lot of times too, you have to kind of think about um what you have put into it and why you put into it. Why did you do it to begin with? Sort of things like that. You have to consider a lot of things, but I have quit many times if I didn't think that it was the right thing for me. Sue, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I did a massive quit. When I was 38, I looked at my career and said, Yeah, this is not what it used to be. I loved it when I started. I was a school psychologist, so I had a master's degree and a specialist degree in school psychology, and I loved it. But then it evolved into all paperwork over time, and I didn't love it anymore. And I also had my undergrad in art and design, and I went back, took a few classes, and started an interior design company. Talk about a 180, completely different. Working for a big school district and my own business in a whole different field. So, but yeah, I've quit. I quit big. I didn't do it little. I went big.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Margaret, what about you? Have you quit before?
I've quit lots of things. Um, and I don't work anymore. I'm retired. So, and when you talk about quitting, I think about a habit, some habit that I've picked up over the years, and that's what I quit. And right now, my quitting habit is restructuring my diet so I can lose weight. So that's what I'm quitting now, is quitting eating all the sweets that pop into the household here. And you just got to put your mind to it of what you like to quit and what's most important to you.
Well, actually, Margaret, that's one of the things that I'm going to talk to everybody about here is when we think about quitting, what happens really with our brain, what I found is that our brain doesn't like shut off. But when we talk to somebody about the prospect of, for example, going into a coaching program, or perhaps maybe going to see a therapist or somebody that can help us with what our issue is, a lot of times our brain looks at that and puts us on high alert because it knows that we're getting ready to change. And the same thing goes with this idea of quitting around this, where a lot of us, we just pivoted. Like when I think about, I quit my teaching job, I didn't completely get out of the teaching arena, but I did move into a different place. But when I think about this notion of quitting, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, this is perceived negatively. Because I don't know about you, but a lot of people in my world, like my family and my friends, they think that I'm a little bit crazy for doing what I'm doing. And they're waiting for me to show them the results, like the fruits of my labor. But it takes time. We know that it takes time. And a lot of times, this conventional wisdom around quitting, it dictates that quitting is actually a sign of weakness or failure. But a lot of times when we look at this pursuit of success, there are different levels that we go through. I mean, I think that all of us can recognize the idea that, I mean, just think about where you were 3 months ago and think about where you were then a year ago. I just had a memory come up in my Facebook feed around a big event that I held last year. And I think about how much I've changed since then, but also how many times I've wanted to quit since then as well. So quitting the wrong path, often we give into this stubbornness that we have. And so sometimes clinging to something that's failing is not a good idea. So I'm not saying that quitting should never happen, but when you're looking at quitting, really looking at these ideas and really just changing the lens that you're looking through. So when we look at like the difference between resilience and stubbornness, like they are kind of the same thing, but also very different. Because as an entrepreneur, we that's one of the prereqs that we come with a big bottle of resilience. And it's crucial to differentiate between resilience and stubbornness. But it's important to persist in the face of challenges. Stubbornly clinging to a failing business can be detrimental. Like if you're always getting up every day and doing the same thing that isn't working, the definition of that, I believe, is insanity, if I'm not wrong. So a lot of times, if we just simply look at our time management, that can give us a big clue as to what we should be quitting. Because successful entrepreneurs understand the value of time, and quitting activities that don't contribute to their goals is not a sign of weakness. It's a strategic move. I know that there are people all the time, the two biggest objections that we get as coaches are what? Do you all know what they are? Or even with other clients that we have, I don't have time and I don't have money. Those are the two biggest objections, probably even for you, Sue.
Well, when you think about quitting and what you're talking about makes sense. But when you have a lot of health issues, then you have to pick the most important ones and go from there. I've lost 30 pounds. So I started in July. So yes, I've quit a lot of different food items and that are not doing me well. So, and with all the health issues, it's hard to pick a dietitian to help me. I more or less have to help myself because there's not a dietitian that is into every health issue. That's what I found.
Right. I'm very happy, Margaret, that you brought that up, because that's one of the other things I wanted to talk with all of you about, is this idea of adaptability, where you are strategic in deciding what you're going to quit. So I'm going to bring this back to something that all of us wrestle with, and it's this thing right here. What should we be quitting with this thing? How
Can
much
we,
more time?
Tracy, excuse me for a minute. I see Miriam with her hands up. Can we just go ahead and ask Miriam what her question is?
Hi, Miriam.
Hi, Tracy. I love this issue. That's a great time because especially me, I'm going through the last few weeks of a major crisis of meanings. And we're talking about quitting. Even when we quit something that is wrong, let's say, for example, a bad relationship, which just happened to me a few years ago, but there is a residual, how can I explain this? Left over that, so I'm not going to get into any more relationships because I don't want to get hurt again. So although I quit, but I'm actually quitting for good. I quit bad relationship, but I'm quitting all relationships. So, and this is something I can't really, get over with yet. And then same thing, with like any changes in our life, we go every day. I agree with you that we quit a lot of things. Like I quit living in California. I moved to Florida. Now, a year after, I am questioning it. So did I do the right thing? I'm kind of like, that's why I'm in crisis. Is this a place? Is this my home? Is this where I want to be? So I would like you to kind of a little bit help me out to understand what's going on. I don't trust my mind anymore.
I understand all of that, Miriam, where when I think about how I quit my job, I quit the city, I quit my relationship, like I felt like at that point with the chronic pain I was experiencing that I don't have anymore, by the way, that I was kind of running for my life. But what happens is when our nervous system puts us into that state of fight or flight or freeze or fawn, there are like 4 different things that our nervous system does to keep us safe. That's really all that's happening. You pulled back into this place where you need to get to know yourself better so you can trust yourself, so that you can come out of that state of fight or flight. And as we go into our tapping later, that's one of the things that tapping really does. So I feel like when we look at like moving out of a bad relationship, even though we know in our heart of hearts, we know that leaving a bad relationship is going to benefit us, it still isn't easy. Because we are repatterning our life and it feels unfamiliar. And as I said, our brain doesn't like it. It likes things that are familiar. The same thing goes with food and with sleep, all of those basic things that as a health coach, because I'm also a health coach, that we look at trying to get us to where we feel better. So there's a lot of different aspects to helping our nervous system just relax. Did that answer some of your questions, Miriam?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. Yeah, I still digging into this question deeper, but I'm waiting to hear from your tapping. So because it's not about intellectually understanding it, knowing it. It's about doing it and really be there. And I'm not there yet.
It is about just feeling into the emotions that you have, recognizing that they are something that is holding you back. And then eventually when we tap, then we'll be able to clear out some of those emotions. Because what happens then is we can look at changing our mind as we work through shedding those feelings. And we've all heard the saying where you have to feel to heal, but it's not easy to do that, especially by ourselves. And I've always said that if I could have had a coach to help me work through my chronic pain and my anxiety, I mean, listen, I didn't even know what anxiety was. And people were telling me, you just have anxiety. And I was like, no, it's not just anything. And it took me a long time to come to the place where I understood how my nervous system worked. So I don't know how many of you have felt like that yourselves.
But I think also before you quit, in the case of Miriam, relieving relationship and the move and all that, that's big. That's huge. And also there's the feeling of guilt sometimes and, and regrets, that you made the wrong choice or you've done something that you shouldn't have done or whatever. So, yeah, I get that, Miriam.
Well,
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
also when you give up on relationships, it blocks you because relationships are where we learn. And having a relationship with your dog, with your friend, with your mother, with your father, with a boyfriend, doesn't matter. There's a lot of different types of relationships. And if you block relationships, then you are blocking the lessons that you need to learn through life. That's what I believe anyway. It's my opinion.
Margaret, that is part of the lesson where we just being open to accepting everything and not pushing away those lessons is a really very good point. When we look at giving up on something, that doesn't mean we have to give up on our dreams. It just means we get to pivot. It's just that sometimes in our brain, we feel like we need to quit everything, like burn everything up and lock the doors and just walk away from it. Where when we can just really tap into our nervous system and realize that there is a big difference between pivoting and actually quitting. So how about if we try the tapping? And let me tell you a little bit about it, because everything that I use in my coaching business has scientific backing to it. And this is the emotional freedom technique, tapping. There's a way to measure how you feel now. So if you can really just give yourself a moment and close your eyes and just feel into your body, into your emotions, and think about how you feel right now on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 would be that you feel more on the negative side of things, and 10 would be where you feel more positive. So as you think about how you feel, just assign it a number and just go with your gut. The reason why I'm having you measure now is because we'll also measure again at the end of our tapping session. So allow yourself to be your own guinea pig right now. And tapping works for a couple of reasons. And the ones that I want to highlight here today, it works for a lot of reasons actually, but the ones that I like to talk to people about specifically are these two. Tapping it's been shown scientifically to reduce the amount of cortisol in our body. And if you don't know what cortisol is, I like to think about just simplifying this, where we have two main hormones that exist in our bodies that move us through the day. Cortisol is the one that wakes us up in the morning. So if you wake up in the morning and you feel nervous instantly, that's because your cortisol levels are at their highest then. So it's not normal, it's not abnormal to wake up and feel nervous, because that's when our cortisol levels are at their highest. But what happens is when our cortisol levels stay at a high level throughout the entire day, and we're operating up here and have our engine going, then that's when it becomes a problem. The other hormone that we have that I was talking about, two of the main ones, is melatonin. And that's the one at night that helps us to go to sleep. So as you think about having higher levels of cortisol, and I know we're all in our morning here, that when we are looking at helping to reduce the amount of cortisol in our body, we can't get rid of it. We have to have that in our body, because that's what helps us get out of bed in the morning. But being able to moderate it with tapping is a gift. The other part of what tapping does is it helps our amygdala to quiet down. And the amygdala is this little bitty almond-shaped structure in our brain, and we also have to have that. It's this ancient part of our brain that keeps us safe. And I don't know where you live, but I know that where I'm at, I don't have dangerous animals lurking outside my cave waiting to attack me. But in our prehistoric brain, we have this system that helps to keep us safe. And you want to have your amygdala there so that if you hear a noise in the middle of the night, that it puts you on high alert. It actually is part of our protection mechanism. But what happens is in our society, because we are always on high alert, And part of the biggest problem, as I said, of us being on high alert all the time is the fact that most people wake up and the first thing they do is they grab their phone, they go through their email, they go on social media. Even the most pristine social media account with butterflies and unicorns, it still changes our nervous system when we don't just flow into our day. So as we work on resetting our nervous system with tapping today, I'm going to lead you through tapping on 9 different points. And I'm also going to be saying some statements around quitting. That's the focus of our talk today. And so your job is to actually follow me in tapping on these places. And also then to repeat out loud what it is that I'm saying. And the reason for that is this, because in case you didn't know this, your brain is always listening to you. It listens to everything that we say. It listens to everything we feed it, including the music that we listen to. And that makes a huge difference with how our patterns show up. So if you're ready, then let's just get into a little bit more of a comfortable position. If you want to stretch it out a little bit, I know I could use the stretch after sitting here for about 30 minutes with everybody. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start tapping on the karate chop point. The karate chop point is right here. It's this meaty part of your hand. And you can tap like this, or you can tap like this, whichever way you would like to do it. And we start out with 3 setup statements on the karate chop point. And it's just a light tap. It's not anything hard. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with the statements. And if you'll just repeat them after me. Make sure while we're tapping that you're also breathing into your belly. A lot of times when we get nervous, and I know this is the first time for a lot of you with tapping, we quit breathing, and that is another stress response. So think about that while we're tapping. Okay, here we go. Even though I have these negative thoughts about wanting to quit and recognizing the need to improve my habits, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have these negative thoughts about wanting to quit, mainly because of my habits and time management, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though my thoughts can sometimes make me want to completely burn it down, I know there's more to this. And I deeply accept all of my feelings. So we're going to move to the eyebrow. And that's just right here on the inside of your eyebrow. Just a light tap here. These thoughts of wanting to quit. We're going to move to the side of the eye. They make me feel overwhelmed. Under the eye. But I know I need to change my habits. whatever those habits are. Then we're going to go under the nose. And I choose to acknowledge these thoughts. The chin point. I honor my feelings. Then we're going to go to the collarbone. And you can tap like this, or you can tap like this. Whichever feels most comfortable for you. You can even just use one hand. I'm willing to let go of negativity. Then under the arm. And under the arm is actually kind of a hand space down from your armpit, kind of where your bra strap would be. And that's where we're tapping just lightly. You can tap like this, or you can tap like this. And then we say here, I want to create positive change. To the top of the head then, we just do a light tap up here. I can choose to use my time more wisely. Then we go back to the eyebrow. These thoughts of quitting. To the side of the eye. They're just thoughts, not reality. Under the eye. I have the power to change my habits. Under the nose. It just takes time. To the chin point. I know I can be more productive. To the collarbone. I'm releasing the fear of quitting. And embracing my potential for growth. Under the arm, I'm choosing to feel empowered. I get to choose. And back to the top of the head, I commit to better time management. And then back to the eyebrow. These thoughts no longer control me. To the side of the eye. I am in charge of my choices. Under the eye. I release the desire to quit. Under the nose. Even though it feels scary. Under the mouth. I deserve success and fulfillment. To the collarbone. My time is a precious resource. Under the arm. Even though I've tried to quit before, I know that I'm capable of change. And then to the top of the head, I am moving towards my goals. So we have 2 more rounds, ladies and gentlemen. So as we move to the eyebrow point again, these negative thoughts about quitting, to the side of the eye, I feel overwhelmed by my habits. Under the eye, I want to give up. But I know I need to change. Under the nose, I'm open to finding a better way. To the chin, I choose to release these negative thoughts. Then to the collarbone, I'm willing to be more resilient. Under the arm, I want to make better use of my time. And then to the top of the head, I'm ready to create positive habits. So let's take a deep breath here. We have one more round, so let's just take a really deep belly breath in. Blow it all out. Last round to the eyebrow. I want to build my resiliency. To the side of the eye. I choose to bounce back from my setbacks. Under the eye, I am strong and capable. Under the nose, resilience is my superpower. To the chin, I can handle challenges and change. To the collarbone, I trust in my ability to improve my habits. And then under the arm, I'm committed to use my time wisely. Then to the top of the head, I am on the path to positive change. So as you slowly stop tapping on your head, if you'll just bring your hands over your heart and close your eyes for a moment, check in with yourself again on that scale from 0 to 10. And just think about where you are now. Tapping is like anything. It's not a magic pill. It is simply about the practice. And if you think about how many years you've practiced getting yourself into whatever it is you're now in, like for example, as a coach, I've been practicing coaching for, yes, a long time, for 3.5 years. But as we look at like the practice of doing something, setting yourself up for success, taking 15 minutes of your day to practice something, that is 1% of your day. So if you can work in 15 minutes of tapping, 15 minutes of breath work, or 15 minutes of exercise also helps to burn off cortisol. Just that 1% shift a day can give you a completely different perspective on your idea around, I want to quit. So instead of quitting the big thing, maybe quit a couple of smaller things and just see how that actually makes you feel. Because sometimes when we quit the big things too quickly, then we live with this long-term regret, and it's sometimes a simpler answer to just looking at a smaller piece of it. So how are you feeling now, ladies?
I feel more relaxed and calm. I think the talking while you're tapping kind of, you feel like you're talking to your subconscious. You're telling your subconscious it's okay, accept yourself, love yourself, and give yourself the permission.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Part of the reason why I am better at tapping than just traditional meditation is because I get to move my body and I also get to talk. And that's the hard part. Like so many of us are like, and we've heard throughout our lives, just smile, it'll be okay if you just go through it. But we have to recognize all of those feelings in us, where when we actually can love and accept ourselves, even though we feel guilty, even though we get angry. I mean, anger is one of the biggest emotions that nobody ever taught us to deal with. So just really loving ourselves anyway is the biggest part of the aspect of tapping, where we get to still love ourselves and forgive ourselves and just really feel into all of those emotions. We are human beings. We get to get angry. We get to feel sad. But then on the other side of the spectrum, when we can clear out those emotions, we have more room and we're more available for the higher vibrational emotions.
You want to check in with those that haven't had a chance to say anything yet?
I would love to hear from Faith
Jane. Let's
or
hear from
Jane.
Jane. How are you, Jane? What are your thoughts?
I can't hear her.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, there we go. Hi,
Okay.
Jane.
Hi, Tracy. Hello, everyone. Rini.
Hello.
This is wonderful. I feel so tranquil and I trust tapping. I've gone to someone who, would initiate it with me some years ago, but I've kind of gotten out of it. I don't know why. So thank you for introducing it back into my life again.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jane. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's great to be
Lynn,
here.
Lynn, are you there?
I am. I am. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Um,
What
Good,
are your
thank
thoughts?
you. I love tapping. I'm in a career field where it's extremely helpful. Um, and I think incorporating this, you gave me some ideas. I just started a new position. I work for the military, so this is like hugely beneficial, and you gave me some ideas, but I've used it personally. It definitely helps to calm me in the moment, or to just kind of take a pause and not react, but respond to something that may be triggering for me. So definitely love it. Big, huge fan of tapping for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you,
Um,
Lynn.
Yes, and Joey. Hi, Joey. Joey's from the Philippines, so I don't know, midnight for her.
Hi,
Yes,
Joey. Thank you for being here with us.
oh, my daughter said I have to be quiet. But anyway, my sharing is, that we do tapping, and we do it not just, when we have to release emotions. We just do it. I mean, it's even if it's just like an ordinary prayer, we just tap on these meridian points because these are energy points, and our family practices this. So it's like an exercise or part of whatever we do. But
Mhm.
mostly it's to release negative emotions. It really helps. So thank you for doing this for us.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Um,
Joey.
a lot of times what I found is I actually end up choosing my favorite tapping spot so that if you're in a place and you feel like it would be beneficial for you to be able to tap, but you don't feel like you can go through all of the points, even just picking like your favorite point. I mean, I'll hold myself here a lot of times if I'm in a meeting and I can't tap, because just the act of touching those points helps us to really start to bring it down.
Yes, thank you. Faith, what are your thoughts? Faith?
I thought it was great. I love tapping also, and I think it's a really important subject about not quitting. I bet a lot of us feel like quitting lots of things today, and it's important for us, and it's important for us to be an example to our children
Mhm.
that we have the courage not to quit. So I really appreciated this conversation today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Faith.
Faith. But I think in the beginning we say that there are times when it's okay to quit. So it's not
Mm.
yeah, we don't want to quit, but there are times when it's okay.
There is no like exact right answer for everybody, but definitely, as one of you said about just taking a pause and really feeling into where we're going is super important.
Thank you. Omeka, we haven't heard from you. Can you say something?
Yeah, just making mom's breakfast. Yeah, I feel energized. That was actually perfect. My roommate is leaving and I gotta do everything with the dog and my mom is like the extra. So I've just been praying and meditating and listen to mind value and the silver method, and I've just been working on my mind and my body and my attention and my energy towards other people. So that was perfect. I've done tapping for many years off and on, very off and on. Thank you for bringing it back. And yeah, I was at an 8 and I may be at a 9 now, but I'm just feeling really good. And
Mm.
just the communication between, well, people, period, but the two people that are in my face every day, my mother and my roommate, is, I'm feeling really good about that today. And love goes a long way. And being firm
Mhm.
and being clear and focused and I've never had to direct somebody's energy and life before and feed them and everything. So it's a beautiful thing. And so thank you for everyone for the conversation. And yeah, tap on.
Thank you, Omeka.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Anyone
much.
else who I didn't call on or who want to say something else?
Quit and don't quit.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, so as you think about how you feel right now, this is like when we really get to change, when we start changing our mind, because another aspect of tapping, what it does with us is it creates neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is like the rewiring of our brain. There's an amazing video that actually shows the neural connections, like how they create new pathways, even just by having a conversation. and then you throw in tapping, and that helps as well. But as I said before, it's about the practice. So are there any of you that didn't get to talk about how you feel after we went through the tap? Just want to make sure that there aren't any other questions out there.
Anyone?
I have a question. This is Lynn Hannon. I missed like the first half, and I do apologize. Is this recorded by any chance? Will I be able
Yes,
to
yes,
listen
it is.
to the first half? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. This is really I enjoyed this. This is great. It's just what I needed
Yeah.
today. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great topic, and we have 5 more minutes. So anyone who haven't had a chance to, if you have any questions, you know, feel free to ask right now. I know personally, I love it because it just kind of relaxes you, calm you down, and giving you permission. And it's kind of like an acceptance and allowing you to be who you are. So Tracy, take it back.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times we get to a place where we feel like we're broken when there really is nothing wrong with us. And other people can see that. That's the importance of coaching, I think, for a lot of us in our world. And just having other people out there that have gone through something similar to what we've gone through, and having the strategies or having some sort of system to help to create new rituals that you can go through when you wake up. I mean, for so long, I just woke up and I was like immediately in the hustle of my day. And I didn't take a lot of time for myself, but tapping really allows all of us to slow down and really focus on how we're feeling. There's a great book. It's by Neville Goddard. It costs like $6. You can get it. Actually, you can get it free on YouTube. It's called Feeling is a Secret. I don't know if you've read that, but the audiobook on YouTube just really validates my feelings on that, where when we don't take the time to feel things, then our emotions surface in other ways. And for me, they came out as pain. So what I would love to have all of you do is, if you're interested in joining me in my free Facebook group, it's called the Alignment Project. I tap in there at least once a week. It's a free Facebook group. It's not like the Zoom call is where we get to talk to each other, but you can write your comments in there. Yeah, Lynn, I'm glad that you know Neville Goddard too. And the recordings are always up in the group. So I do a Tuesday tap is what I call it. And I would love to have you join me there. I would love to have you send me a friend request on Messenger, and definitely ask questions. Just get curious.
Tracy, feel free to post your link on our Facebook chat as well.
Okay.
Jane, do you have any questions? I see you. Okay. Go ahead.
Good.
Okay.
No, I'm good. I was going to ask to post your information. What time on Tuesdays, Tracy?
On Tuesdays, right now, I do it at 2:22, right around there, p.m., but I'm Mountain Time. So it's actually 4:22 Eastern. And I would love to have all of you show up live. I feel like it changes the energy when we can do it together. But the replay is always there, and I've been tapping in the group for quite some time, and I just leave the recordings in there. If you have a specific topic that you want me to tap on, I can generally guide you to that or come up with something for you as well.
I'm curious, Tracy. Oh, go ahead, Jane. I'm sorry, I
No,
interrupted.
I was just gonna say, and I love so much of what you have shared with us, especially of how when we don't feel, it shows up in the body as pain.
Mm.
If more people could hear that and know that, they would change their lives. That's so motivating. And I know it motivated me some years ago, and it continues to. So
Mm.
thank you for that.
Absolutely, you're welcome. I think that the biggest piece of my healing and this journey that I'm on now is I don't want anybody to feel like I did. I mean, I didn't, at one point, I had lost hope almost completely until I realized that I had this power to just research and connect with people just like you, because that's what really inspires me to continue with my work.
You know, what's really interesting is that we all are feeling, you know, Miriam, all of us here felt something about ourselves being inadequate and not enough. And that's why we have groups like this, because all of us have felt it, have been there. And, you know, why do it by yourself? And you think that you're the only person who has all these problems, but it's really not true. All of us have, in variation, different issues in our lives. So thank you so much, Tracy. It's 8:01, so we do need to wrap this up, but I so appreciate the topic. What a great topic, Tracy. Come back again with your other topics.
Mm.
And
Thank you, Rainey.
yes,
And thank
so
you
grateful.
everybody for just your energy. I loved just having all of, it's so much more powerful when we can do this together.
Yes, I'm so grateful for all of you for your participation and contribution. Next week, Marla Kopel will be sharing Selling is Just a Conversation. So any of you who wants to grow your business and having trouble with marketing, that's a good time to come and listen to Marla. She's an expert. She's great. So Tracy, do you want to say the last thing before we close this up?
The last thing I would like to say is, again, just thank you, Rennie, and I can't wait to get to you in the Alignment Project. I also interview and do this sort of like forum in my group because I feel like the messages that all of us have are super important to share out there. So I can't wait to connect with you on that, Rennie. Thank you so much again for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great week. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, all.
Rennie.
Yes.
Thank you, Tracy.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.